Hello, my name is Nicole Walden, and I'm here today to give you a sneak peek of ColorZoom 2017 in Flux. Today I'm going to share with you the concept, the colors, and the techniques behind this year's amazing collection. I'm also going to show you a demo of one of the looks that can be found in your stylist manual. Fluid, powerful, dark spirit, melting of colors, contouring. These are just some of the keywords that are used to represent the ColorZoom in Flux. You can follow along in your stylist guide here, and then you can see this wording throughout the manual here. This guide is going to help give you a visual of the looks, the different shades, and the techniques that can be found in this year's collection. Also in your manual, any picture that you see here with the head shape, if you have your Goldwell app handy, you can open the Goldwell app and hold it over these head shapes, and it'll create a 3D image. So you can get an even more in-depth look at the techniques to see the entire head shape of how the color was placed or different cutting techniques to help finish off the look. So please follow along in your stylist manual so you can understand as we go through this collection. So first I'm going to talk about the cuts and the shape that are found in this year's collection. You're going to see fluid round graduation in the shapes, and also a combination of different shapes as well as lengths to help create these powerful looks with the fluid melting of colors. There's an airiness to these looks with overlaid elements that help again give it that very fluid and soft look, but also very strong shapes to go along with them. Most of the looks also have a strong fringe with a lot of texture to help soften then the edging. The Influx color story is going to be a combination of dark backgrounds and iridescent shades. What was created this year was just taking colors from our existing portfolio and just creating new shades with what already exists in the portfolio. So first we have our dark backgrounds. Those are going to be used for contouring, and then with the placement of the iridescent shades in triangle sections, those are going to make these colors pop, as well as the combination of the two with the techniques are going to give you a very color melting fluid effect. So let's go through some of the new shades. Our dark backgrounds are going to be Noir Blue, Cool Brown, Slate Gray, Black Plum, Opal Beige, and Coral Blonde. Our iridescent shades are going to be Pale Gray, Acid Gold, Coral Blush, Electric Violet, Mauve Pink, and Azure Blue. Again, you can find the formulations just below each of the color, as well as you will see different mixing ratios or different mixings for whether you're going to use Top Chic, Color-Ons, or even a Lumen. And I think this is a great way to take colors that we already exist in our portfolio and create something new with them. And again, all of your formulas can be found here in the guide. So with the cuts and shape and the color story, by putting these together, this is how we're going to achieve these fluid looks I keep talking about, where you're going to have strong shapes from the cut, the round graduation, and then a morph emerging of the color with these placement techniques of the iridescent shades within triangle sections. And again, it's going to help us to create these very powerful looks that also have an airiness to them. So now we're going to take a look at the demo of one of the models in the collection. Okay, for our demo today, we're going to see the Ida Marie technique. I'm going to show you the technique for her, but I'm actually going to use my own color story from the collection. Just like in everyday life behind the chair, we never know how our client or model is going to come into us, so we have to kind of work with the canvas we're given. So in the collection, Ida Marie is actually a lighter color, more of the opal beige, where my client came in as a darker base. So I decided to take some of the colors from the collection, and again, like I said, make my own color story using the new colors from the collection, but using the Ida Marie technique. So the colors that I'm going to use for the demonstration today, we're going to see a background of the slate gray color, which is going to be 40 milliliters of our 10 volume developer, that's 3%, 25 milliliters of 8SB, 10 milliliters of A mix, and 5 milliliters of P mix. So that is going to be my background and my base color. I also, from the round down, pulled that through the ends, and from the round up to my sectioning here, I actually put on the ends there in color-ons 5 milliliters of 8SB, 5 milliliters of 2A, and 5 milliliters of clear with 30 milliliters of my color-ons lotion, and I pulled that through the ends here in the round section to give it more of that airiness to go with the look. So we'll have a little bit of a deeper base that was tapped in, was the slate gray background, and then from the mid shaft to ends was my color-ons formula, like I said, to give it a little bit more airiness. So I have already done the background and moved my way up so we didn't have to, so that could start processing. And now I'm gonna show you the techniques that are gonna be done in these top 2 triangle sections. As you can see here, she's been pre-parted out. I also pre-lightened her because we needed to get her to a pale blonde to make sure these iridescent colors that we're going to use in our formulas really stand out. So the iridescent colors that I'm going to use in these triangle sections, I chose to do the pale gray, which is AN at 5, 1 milliliter, SV at 10, 5 milliliters, and SB at 10, 20 milliliters, and that is with our lumen. The second color is going to be electric violet. That is 7 milliliters of PK et al., 3 milliliters of TQ et al., and 10 milliliters of SV at 10. And then my third color I chose to use in the technique is going to be our coral blush, which is 15 milliliters of AB at 9, 4 milliliters of RR et al., and 2 milliliters of YY et al. So let's get started now that we have all of our formulas. And like I said, I did pre-section my mannequin here. And like I said, there are 2 triangle sections at the top here. One that it does concave here through the fringe line, and then the point comes to the top, the highest point of the head, and then the second triangle shape then drops down just below the crown. Okay, so we're going to work in those 2 sections. I'm going to start here with the top triangle, and what we're going to do is we're going to melt our 3 colors together. And you'll see what I mean here as I go through. And we're going to do slicing, a slicing technique. Okay, so we're going to start here in this top section. I am going to take my first slice, and we're going to clip the rest out of the way. And as you can see, I laid down my thermal papers just to protect it from the background color I've already done. So we're going to take our first slice, we're going to use our thermal paper, we're going to lay that down, and we're coming in here at an angle. We're going to work our way across the triangle section like that. So first I'm going to tap in my background color, and that's going to go from the base just out about an inch or so, inch and a half, because we kind of want that shadowy root. And then we're going to start with our coral beige, or coral blush, I'm sorry. And I'm going to then come right up to where I stopped with the background color. We're going to kind of melt that in together. And then I'm just going to feather down the strand of the hair. Okay, now I'm going to take my electric violet shade. We're going to come right next to where we stopped with the coral violet, or coral blush, I'm sorry. We're going to melt that in together and then feather that down through the ends. And lastly, then we have our pale gray. We're going to start where we stopped with the electric violet, melt that together, and then feather that down through the ends. And and then we'll fold it up. And now with my next section, we'll take our next slice, and we're going to alternate the colors. So with the next section, put my foil in there, again with my background shade, tap that into the base. And now since I ended with the pale gray, I'm going to start with the pale gray this time. So I'm gonna take that just out from where I ended the base color and then feather that down. So like I said, we're gonna rotate each of the colors as we work through our foils. So then my next one would be the Coral Blush. Melt that down. And then the last one will be the Electric Violet. Blend that and feather that down. Okay. In my third slice here, same technique, and again, we're just gonna rotate the colors. Take our foil, tap in our background, and then this time my first color is going to be my Electric Violet. Feather down. Then my slate gray next. I'm sorry, my pale gray next. And then the last color will be our Coral Blush. Feathered through. And now in this next foil, I'm actually going to just pull through my background color just to help break that up. That'll also help more of the color melting effect that we are going for as well. So after you've done the full rotation of your 3 iridescent shades, then you're gonna come in and just pull through your background shade root to ends. Make sure we're good and saturated. Okay, so now I'm going to finish doing the look. And again, I'm just going to keep rotating how I did each one of those shades, melting together as I finish working my way through this top triangle. And then when I get to the back triangle, I'm actually going to start from the opposite side and work my way to my left side, doing the same combination of melting the colors and changing which color I start with and end with until I reach the end of the triangle and I'm out of hair in this section. Okay, I'm gonna finish this technique and then we will get to see the end result. Okay, and here we have our finished look. So this is the technique of Ida Marie. And then again, I chose my own color story where I did my background using the slate gray. And then I did the pale gray, Electric Violet, and Coral Blush as my iridescent shades. And those were placed in triangle sections at the top of the head here, just behind the hairline, and then again in the starting the top and leading down into the crown. So you can see just with this technique, we have a lot of fluid movement of colors, melting of colors. If you remember, I blended the colors together in each one of the foils. All 3 of the iridescent shades were placed in each foil and then just melted together. And then to finish off the cut, again, it's just this rounded, strong shape with then these airy pieces kind of just overlaying as almost a veil. And you can have a lot of fun with these, curl them, wear them straight, however you'd like. But again, it just gives it that airiness, that fluid movement of color throughout the look. So to just recap what we went over today, so we talked about Color Zoom 2017, the collection of Influx. The keywords that we heard were fluid, deep shadowing, and powerful, and colors that looked, finished looks that were seamless by melting of colors together. We went over our new color palette created from our existing shades in our portfolio to create new ones. And we went through our stylist manual to show you how you each look, the formulas and techniques that go along with them, as well as using the Goldwell app and the 3D imagery to get a better in-depth look at each technique, where you can see a 360 view of the entire head, so you can see front and back. And then we also saw then a finished look here of Ida Marie taking one of the techniques from the collection and then using my own color story to create my own look for my own individuality. So I want to thank you for joining me today. If you are looking for even more inspiration regarding Goldwell or Color Zoom 2017, please visit our goldwelllive.com. And there you will find all kinds of great and useful information regarding all of our education, our portfolio, as well as more information about the Color Zoom 2017 Influx. So thank you again.